now hiring. Call us at 850-740-3815 or visit cbcconstruction.com to learn more. CBC Construction. Be part of a winning team.
If you spend any time at all in your yard, you're going to encounter fire ants.
We know they can ruin a party. That's why we're this area's experts at fire ant elimination.
As your certified top choice professional, we will rid your yard of these unwanted invaders. Brock Pest is so sure they will get rid of fire ants that they offer a 1-year guarantee.
Enjoy your yard fire ant free. We guarantee it. Give us a call for your free consultation.
Brock Lawn and Pest Control, our family protecting yours since 1968.
Get ready to discover new adventures this summer and hit the road in a new Kia from Bill Bird Kia. Our SUV family is built for all-in adventures and endless possibilities. Stop by Bill Bird Kia today and test drive a new 2025 Kia Soul, Seltos, Sportage, Sorento, or Telluride. You'll find the perfect balance with comfort, safety, and technology. Now offering 1.9% APR up to 60 months on the purchase of a new 2025 Kia Sorento during the Kia Summer Sticker Sales Event. Bill Bird Kia is the home of that 20-year, 200,000-mile warranty. See us today at 2435 East 15th Street or anytime at BillBirdKiaPanamaCity.com. Enjoy the view this summer because the road is yours in a new Kia from Bill Bird Kia.
Offer from Kia Finance America for the purchase of a new 2025 Kia Sorento with $1,748 per 1,000 finance in 60 months. Qualities limited. Cannot be combined with other finance offers. The 20-year, 200,000-mile warranty is the Bill Bird Kia warranty. See dealer for complete details. Offer for well-qualified buyers. Must take delivery from dealer stock through 7725.
I may look like all the other dogs, but I was born for a purpose. To one day be your companion, your eyes to see the world. I'll be your courage, your friend. With me, you'll find new freedom and hope for a better future. A dog I'm not. I'm a Southeastern guide dog.
WGSX Lynn Haven, WVLQ Port St. Joe. Powered by Panama City Toyota.
And that's out of the ballpark.
ESPN, Northwest Florida.
It's the next evolution of sports talk radio. The biggest stories and the biggest reactions. From college to the pros. Interviews with the newsmakers, sports betting, your phone calls, and more. And now, we're taking the inside drive with Ryan Mulvey.
I love it.
Broadcasting from the Gulf Plus studios on ESPN Northwest Florida.
We are back. You're listening to The Inside Drive live here on ESPN Northwest Florida. They say it's like riding a bike, so I'm jumping on with both feet today. Great to be back in studio. Want to give a huge shout out to all the people that helped kind of keep it going while we were over there in Jacksonville. And, appreciate it. Appreciate James, appreciate Paul, and David. Appreciate you very, very much. We were over there for what felt like eternity and just got back yesterday afternoon.
Yeah.
So hopefully everything that we did over there pays off in the long run. Hopefully it does. But man, again, the support and love from all you wonderful people here in Bay County and beyond goes such a long, long way. And I was telling David before the show, when you're in a place like that, you see kids, toddlers that should have no business being in a facility like that. And your heart hurts for them. Obviously, you're dealing with a situation yourself, but at the same time, I'm a grown adult. I know how to process. I know how to handle this stuff. But, there's a little boy in there that I saw twice. He was sweet as can be, just talked your head off. So nice. He's from Australia.
Wow.
They've been all around the world trying to find therapies that can help him. They've been doing trials, all sorts of stuff. And just to see how tough and brave these young kids are, it just, kind of really puts things in perspective. Those kids have no business. They should be out having fun with their friends in summertime. Now it's not summer school yet in Australia, but saw, one of those little kids trying to learn how to walk, and they have a whole kid section there. It's just, man, it's just absolutely brutal. And you know what? F cancer to the 100,000th degree. Hopefully we can make some stuff happen and find some cures for these awful, awful, awful diseases. So I just wanted to say that real quick before we jumped into everything. But again, also want to thank everybody for voting the Inside Drive right here, Best of Bay. obviously, I was gone the entire time that voting was going on, which kind of sucked. But at the same time, I was pushing it out there on Facebook. So all that voted, we appreciate it very, very much. I know it's sometime in kind of early-ish July that they'll reveal all of the winners. So I'm looking forward to seeing if at least one of the shows here on ESPN Northwest Florida can make another win in the Best of Bay competition. You are listening to ESPN Northwest Florida 104.3 here in Panama City and Panama City Beach, 101 or in Panama City Beach. Look at that. I'm almost.
Hey, when you're riding the bike, right? Sometimes you want to your foot will slip a little bit off the pedal. So yeah, right there. It's so funny.
Reeled it in though.
Yeah, you did. When you mentioned riding the bike last night, I watched this video. This lady has a daughter, and the daughter's blind, and she got her a bike, and they went to a park, and she had like this mechanism on the bike that would beep on the bike that the mom was riding, so it would like show the girl.
She could kind of follow the sound.
But yes, exactly. So I thought that was really cool, and it made me think of that whenever.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. That's awesome. I mean, there's lots of different ways. I mean, technology, all that stuff. But yeah, you can also download our free mobile app inside the Google Play or Apple Store. All you got to do there is search 104.3. It'll pop up right there for you. We're getting ever so closer to college and NFL football season, and that only means one thing. You need to download Lucid Streams Scorpion TV. Slipped off that bike just a little bit. I was like, hopefully we're still living. And then I said the wrong one, of course. But just head over to ESPNPC.com. At the top of the page, you'll see the link. Sign up for Scorpion TV. It's only $44.99 a month using $41.99.
Hey, we're gonna get back to our hand signals working, baby.
Yeah, it'll be good. $41.99 a month for all those channels, all those sporting events. You cannot beat that. All you got to do is head over to ESPNPC.com, click that Scorpion TV link, use code ESPNNW. $41.99 a month. That's unbelievable for the amount of sports that you'll get to watch.
Can't even buy a TV for that price.
That's true. That's true. I was telling you about this. You know, our first part of the trip, my parents came down. Ryan was with us. The dogs were with us too, which was awesome. We hadn't done that forever, so that was a really good time. And then the second part of the trip, you know, obviously we're trying to save as much money as we can. We appreciate everybody that's helped out. We were staying in a 1-bedroom apartment with Liam, who doesn't ever stop talking, which is great because he's, you know, he doesn't do that out in public. It's really just with us. But craziest thing, in the 1-bedroom, did not have a TV. I just don't understand that at all. Needless to say, we went out and found the smallest, cheapest TV we could. Obviously, we brought it back with us, but yeah, wild stuff. In this day and age, not having, so we got they didn't even have anything to put it on.
Yeah.
So we got the ironing board out and put it on the ironing board. I felt a little bit like Jay in that situation.
He was leaned up against the wall.
Luckily, I was able to install the legs on it, but it's the only TV I have with legs on it. But
oh man, was it very dark in the room, like the 1-bedroom apartment? Was it?
Yeah, it was like the place was called the Hacienda Club.
Oh,
kind of fitted with my haircut.
You was
that I got.
Living it up down there.
I know, I was.
Surprised you didn't come in saying hola.
I should have. Hola, ese.
Well, the reason why I asked if it was dark in there is because maybe that's where Aaron Rodgers does his darkness retreat, because you can't have a TV in something that you're.
That's true. That's true.
In a darkness.
Didn't see any ayahuasca laying around anywhere, but
he probably keeps that with him.
I would think so.
Yeah,
I would think so. You know, with everything going on there, I mean, some of that stuff may not be out of the realm of things to try when you're going through as much as we are. But
that's a good point.
Not here in the States, but you know, you can head on down to Costa Rica, I believe, and go on a little ayahuasca retreat.
I've also been hearing about this other one you've probably heard of, it, Ibogaine or whatever. Ibogaine?
Yeah, I have seen that.
I guess it's like the same premise.
I think so. Yeah. I mean, I don't know a ton about it, but there's a lot of those kind of natural things out there that kind of can, you know, certainly help if, you know, I think if you open your mind and let it help, because, you know, the pharmaceutical world that we live in is a money-driven, just like anything else.
Yeah,
war,
I mean, it's just
pharmacy two biggest businesses in the world are war and pharmaceuticals, and I am living in that pharmaceutical world right now. But a lot of stuff, you know, we just read about something too from what's the hospital? Mount Sinai, Cedars-Sinai, one of those ones in New York that they kind of figured out they're working on some things to penetrate that stupid blood-brain barrier. So, staying patient, doing all the normal stuff, and just hopeful and praying that something will come out that can help not only me, but, all these people out there dealing with these awful, awful diseases.
I think that's what's so insane, if I could share this perspective about all the perspective that you've gained through this. You know what I mean? I have no idea about, I can't get into your mind and see all the perspective, but I talk to you, you know what I'm saying? And I hear the things that you're talking about. It's so wild to me that you go into something with dealing with cancer where it's, obviously you and everyone else who's in your support, in your circle, it affects them as well. But you're going through something that is potentially taking your life away, and you come out of that situation not more worried about yourself, not thinking about yourself more, but like, yes, not woe is me, but I'm dealing with this, but look at them, look at that, look at you know what I'm saying? If I could say just wow about you, man, and your family first and foremost. Just so glad to have you back, of course, but seeing your fight and then seeing just who you are as a human being is humanity is not as bad as what people put it out there to be.
I think Luke Bryan wrote a song about that. All people are not. I should know.
People are crazy. No, that's Billy Currington. God is good.
No, I believe most people are good. I think that's the name of the song, and that's probably true. It's just we live in the negativity of the modern media, whatever you want to call it. But yeah, no, I believe it's a good one. That is for sure. While you're looking that up, we got 59 days, 12 hours, 50 minutes, and 54 seconds till the college football kickoff. That's August 23rd, the week 0 action, and obviously the big action kind of gets kicked off on week 1. Yeah.
I was about to say, add about 7 more days of that for me. Of course, I'm excited about week 0. Yeah. But even after yesterday, I am even more so excited about August 30th.
No doubt. No doubt. Little Bama FSU action getting the season kicked off. No pun intended. Did you find those lyrics?
Oh, well, it is most people are good. I didn't know we were looking up.
No, it's okay. It's okay. Yeah,
I believe most people are good. I believe streets of gold are worth the work.
There you go.
Neither here nor there.
There you go. There you go. NFL side of things, which I know we are, especially I am very excited about. NFL is just, I love college football, but I grew up NFL. NFL is kind of my wheelhouse. 71 days, 12 hours, 49 minutes, and 58 seconds till that September 4th kickoff. And Max, delighted to know. I'm glad you wore your Indiana shirt today because
there you go. Go Howley.
We may or may not be picking an SEC win-loss schedule and a Big Ten win-loss schedule later on today in the show. And one of those teams is going to be your Indiana Hoosiers.
Love it.
Yeah. How are you doing?
I'm doing well, thanks.
Excellent.
Great to be here.
Great to have you here. That is for sure.
I'm sure you're happy to be home, too.
Yes, happy to be home indeed. And looking forward to doing some radio this week and jumping back into it next week after Mondays. We got to go back away for the weekend, but that is neither here nor there. Max, Allegiant Lending, tell us about it.
Yeah. Great company. 850-565-1160. We do wholesale mortgage lending, condos, single-family homes, second homes, mobile homes, you name it. No land, though. Juice isn't worth the squeeze. So.
Juice isn't worth the squeeze.
I love that. Yes. Bro, you're looking swole over there.
Thanks. Wow.
Yes, sir.
I'll Venmo you later.
Yeah, well, that was the whole a couple of weeks ago, maybe months ago, you started off with the hostility and everything, so now we're just getting in. We're skipping that, and we're going straight into the compliments, baby.
There you go. There you go. I mean,
I'll hang out with you anytime.
Yeah, there's room behind the glass for you there, Max, if you want to jump back.
Set a mic up back here, buddy.
Yeah, there you go. There you go. But countdowns were getting ever so closer. There was something, too, I don't know if you want to talk about it or not. I believe you shared it yesterday on Facebook for some condo stuff. Our governor signed something. Gotcha.
Some people are a little frustrated by that, but it makes sense because it's hard to fulfill reserves in a budget in such a short term, and you have to charge assessments to all the owners, and that's never a good process. It's never easy to deliver the news that you're raising HOA, but it's all good things. It shouldn't be a political thing one way or the other. It should be pretty bipartisan. That it's just something that needs to happen, and it was a tragic situation in Miami, of course.
Yes.
But it'll all be for the best in the long run, and it makes things a lot more transparent for condo owners, which is crazy. I didn't know that wasn't already mandated, that the records had to be available if you lived in a condo.
Oh, really?
That's something that's new. Like
they just hide them from you?
Yeah, like you have to go through all these channels.
That's wild. Well, I do know the channels because sometimes when you're trying to get HOA budgets and stuff like that, I know Beth is on the phone with a lot of different people trying to track that down. But now, sounds like it'll be a lot easier to get to when that is officially. I don't know if I'm going to talk sports in this first segment. Have you guys ever eaten at one of those Brazilian steakhouses?
Yes.
Okay.
No.
Oh,
it sounds amazing. When you just bring it up like that, you're just like, oh.
Yeah. So our final night there, we went and ate there to kind of, celebrate a little bit of being done and all that stuff, even though I had one more treatment the next morning, but it was early. But it just kind of, I think I had been one when I was like young, but I don't really remember it. So it's basically, David, you go to like this little, like, I don't want to say buffet. It's like a salad type bar with some other things before they bring out the meat. And then what they do is you have a little button on your thing. It either says no or yes. And if it says yes, they keep coming around and asking you if you want whatever particular type of meat it is.
Do they like keep track of how much you're getting?
No. It's like a free for all. But
it's awesome.
The funny thing is, like, there's different cuts of meat. There's different types of protein. Like, one guy's got lamb, the other guy's got chicken, and then there's a bunch of guys that have different types of steak. So I was kind of thinking while we were there that, when they're back in the kitchen or wherever they're getting this stuff from, how are they deciding who gets what? Because there's a lot of people I'm like, no, I'm good. But then, you got the guy who gets to choose the fillet? Who gets to choose the nice cuts of meat? Are they back there doing like rock, paper, scissors and stuff like that? Because, and you feel almost guilty when you say no. They're like, do you want this lamb chop? And it's like, not really a big lamb guy, so no.
8 pounds of lamb.
Yeah, absolutely. So I just thought it was a very interesting way to serve food.
I always wondered that too, because like you feel bad, especially if it's like a more tender cut. It takes longer for them to cut it. You're just watching.
Yep. And then you use your little tongy things to grab it.
Yes. The finer things.
Yes, the finer things, the little tongs to grab the meat. But yeah, no, just thought that was a interesting thing, how they decide who gets to do what on the meat carving situation. I wanted to we only got about 5 minutes, which is plenty of time, but I want to have David play a clip from both Kevin Shaw and another gentleman kind of talking about, because I haven't had a chance, obviously, to talk about Coastal Carolina's run to the College World Series final, and this is kind of recapping, from Shaw's perspective.
So I did some digging into Kellen Levy. He is the umpire that claimed that he was bumped by the Coastal Carolina manager.
Plate umpire throws Kevin Schnall out of this game, and down goes an umpire who had come in.
There was no bump. He was embarrassed. Immediately goes 2 game suspension. I shouldn't be held accountable for a grown man's athleticism.
Out of this game, and
for years people have been complaining about this umpire. This is the worst call, and he needs to take a seat. It's Kellen. I literally cringe when I see his name. He's previously called that a strike. Vols fans might remember him for being behind the plate a couple years ago.
If you see the picture, it's a really bad pitch that was called a strike.
It's terrible.
Yeah, so you've seen that pitch?
Yeah, I was watching.
Yeah.
Market balls and strikes, and quite honestly, you should throw everybody out of the game the entire time.
If you are putting that person that cannot handle his temper, that cannot handle criticism, that can't handle the game itself, then get him out of the College World Series. Coastal Carolina, coming into today, played 68 games, and they tossed them both in the first inning. Thin-skinned. And it's funny I use that term because the home plate umpire, Angel Campos is a former Major League Baseball umpire who got canned, known for a history of quick ejections and a reputation for a volatile strike zone. If you go to Campos's Wikipedia, there's literally examples for him quickly ejecting and tossing out multiple Major League Baseball players. So then the College World Series was like, hey, let's hire him.
Yeah, I mean, and again, would it have changed the outcome of the game? LSU's pitchers were dealing, but at the same time, you don't know if it wouldn't have changed the outcome of the game. So I'm not saying LSU didn't deserve to win the College World Series. I just would have liked to see that not happen.
Yeah, and it does just kind of suck because, like, that's such a frugal thing or like finicky thing to be.
Well, and there's a million LSU fans in the crowd yelling. It was basically a home series for LSU.
Right. Mm-hmm.
He did not hear the warning. And if you don't hear the warning, you're not going to step back. And I feel like it's the ump's responsibility to make sure. It could have just been handled so differently. It was so frustrating.
Didn't he say that he shouldn't be punished for an ump's lack of athleticism?
That was on the clip.
Yeah, sorry.
I love that part.
For the first base umpire
because he
falling.
tripped over the other guy's shoe.
And he was embarrassed, so he's like, you pushed me. You're out. So he's not going to be coaching the first 2 games of next season, which is just wild to me. I'm sure it won't be a mega series, but Coastal plays a lot of big series in February. So, but yeah, I don't know. I just, if you get fired from Major League Baseball for not being a good umpire, you shouldn't then go down and ump in the highest level of college baseball. Right. In my opinion, whether that's right or wrong.
Or probably in Division I college baseball.
Period.
And respectfully, probably that's a good Division III umpire right there.
Yeah, no doubt, no doubt. But
I don't know, because my thing is if you're thin-skinned, like, you probably shouldn't be umpiring.
You shouldn't be officiating
regardless.
Any sport.
I'll also say too, though, I'm not a big fan of Schnall doing that in the first inning. Balls and strikes in the first inning. There's something to there's not coming out of the dugout about it at that point.
Yeah.
Because if he would have waited till the 7th inning to do that, that could have been a different and the spark for Coastal Carolina. Because I don't think it was a spark. I don't think anything about that was positive for Coastal Carolina, because now you're talking about, instead of possibly 3 innings of Oxendine being the acting head coach, you're talking about an entire ball game, and that also is in the back of the mind of the players.
That's true. I kind of liked it because, I mean, clearly he did his research on the ump before the game.
Yeah.
And I think, I know it's hard in the heat of the moment, but I think he's a little calculated enough to be like, hey, I'm going to go out there and set the tone early that we got to get this zone under
control.
control.
Well, and I think, too, he said whether he actually did or not, he did not hear the warning when he was asking about them, and then he kind of came out to what he said was to try to clarify things, and that's why he was holding up the 3 fingers. It's like, you missed 3 already in this game. And I think he missed some calls in the top, too, when Coastal was pitching. So the whole College World Series, the strike zone just seemed like it moved all
consistently.
Yeah, all games, every game out there. There was just a lot that were interesting, and you just hope it wasn't calculated or anything like that.
I feel like baseball and basketball referees, umpires just have like the thinnest skin now out of any of the sports. I feel like hockey, they take it a good bit.
Yeah, I mean, they kind of have to.
They have to. Same with NFL, though, too. Like, when all those guys, like, the biggest guys in the world are yelling at you, I'd be like, dude, yeah, fine, you're right.
Well, I mean, I guess that comes with the territory.
Yeah,
but
you have to, because I guess you just have to have thicker skin to deal with that. But, I mean, there's some heavier
You
senses.
also have to have a little self-awareness, too, of, like, the situation. That's where I
game
have...
Game 2, elimination for Coastal, like, come on.
First inning, like, and then LSU fans are just so fired up after that, and I don't know. It was tough to watch, but kudos to my Chanticleers for an amazing season. Kevin Shaw's first season as a head coach, and kind of what's ironic is who's LSU's head coach?
Jay Johnson.
Jay Johnson was Arizona's head coach in his first year when Coastal beat them in 2016. So now it's kind of like the shoes on the other foot. Kevin Shaw's first season with Coastal Carolina, he makes it to the finals and it loses to Jay Johnson. There's just some irony there for me, but College World Series, man, was so much fun to watch. I love college baseball because they're not perfect. They make mistakes, and it ends up being part of the game. So you just never know when this parity is going to happen. And there were so many late game comebacks and all that stuff. I was kind of bummed I was on the road the entire time it was going on, and really Beth probably tired of me talking about the College World Series. So we're going to go ahead and take a quick break. When we get back, we'll be joined by Doc A, Steve Alexander, and get his thoughts on the NBA Finals and what's in store for next season. You're listening to Inside Drive here on ESPN Northwest Florida.
ESPN Northwest Florida. The afternoon underdogs.
I just think he needs to go back to Disney, man. Give it up, dude, because you're a phony. Jake Paul, if you're listening, you are a phony.
He would whoop your
He probably would. He probably would. He's a lot bigger than me. That's the reason why, like I said, they got weight classes.
He likes to fight guys like you.
Yeah, no, likes to pick on people, basically is what I'm saying.
4 to 6 weekdays. 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
Good morning. This is Joanna on ESPN Northwest Florida with Monday's weather forecast. Likely thunderstorms and moderate rain this afternoon and evening with a high near 83 and a wind 10 to 15 miles per hour. Likely thunderstorms and very light rain tonight, a light breeze and a temperature of 76. About the same tomorrow, around 81 with light sprinkles and definite thunderstorms. Likely thunderstorms and moderate rain Wednesday and quite warm around 84. This forecast is brought to you by Earthworks of Northwest Florida. Thank you for listening to ESPN Northwest Florida. Rely on it.
Golf is a game that should be fun, but to have the most fun, you need to play your best. That's where the experts at Golf Plus come in. Their friendly staff will guide you through the buying process, answer all your questions, and can help with any repairs you need along the way. Golf Plus is your custom fitting, club repair, and golf retail shop. Golf Plus staff is non-commissioned and will work with you to find the best product for your game, just like they've been doing since 1988. Golf Plus in Panama City Beach. Fitting, repair, retail. That's Golf Plus.
Ellis Agency Insurance has been serving Panama City and Bay County for years. They offer a full line of affordable insurance coverage of all types. Many people are attracted to Ellis Agency Insurance because of their friendly, knowledgeable staff. Call independent agent Johnny Ellis for a true comparison of your personal or business insurance. Ellis Agency Insurance at the Old Cullen Insurance location, 1134 Harrison Avenue, across from Dandy Donuts in Delhi. Call 763-1627.
Broadcasting from the Golf Plus studios, it's the Inside Drive. And now the Inside Drive with Ryan Mulvey.
We're going to have a talk.
Tell me what you know.
It's a frantic noise.
ESPN Northwest Florida.
And we are back jiving here in the Golf Plus studios. Go check out their new Facebook page, Golf Plus PCB. And the Dothan store is up for sale if anybody is looking to buy a golf shop, all the merchandise and all the wonderful things that come along with it. You just gonna let it go? Might as well just let it go the whole segment, right? In the background?
Yeah, over here on Facebook, I'm changing y'all's cameras to the beat.
Dude, I can get my glow sticks out.
Right? Go back.
Yeah, Coach Haddad looked so excited. Me and you were back here bebopping and whatnot, and Coach Haddad just like, turn this down.
Yeah. It's not my vibe, man.
Get off my lawn. Right. Oh, goodness. All right.
Okay, he wasn't shaking his fist at clouds last night because he might have got struck by lightning.
Yeah, that was some wild
It was so beautiful on my way to church last night from here. It was just streaking through the clouds. And it was like, oh my gosh, that is
And
amazing.
the temperature was reasonable there for a little while.
Yeah.
And this morning, the humidity kind of seemed like it went out a little bit, which was good. I'm sure.
And they came back with a vengeance.
Yeah, always does. Always does. You get a small reprieve, and then you jump right into it. All right, Coach. We did it yesterday.
All
David
right.
did his Titans and the Alabama Crimson Tide. Chef Ross did the
Green Bay and Wisconsin.
and the Wisconsin Badgers. So I know
I was going to say, I'm probably going to do the same two teams as David, although I'll add the Yankees in there.
There you
since
go.
We're halfway
Ooh,
through the season.
I like that.
Titans, realistic. Honest to God, just show signs of life. Be able to semi-protect Cam Ward would be the thing. If Cam Ward can make it through the year healthy, that would be honestly a good realistic, because they're not going to be very good this year. Now, the fairy tale would be a Jaden Daniels-like Commanders run to in this case, the AFC Championship game. But obviously, that's fairy tale for a reason. But no, I think, 5-6 wins, Cam Ward plays the whole year and shows signs of improvement, I'd be jumping up and down at that.
Yeah, and that's it's kind of what David said yesterday as well on the realistic side of things. Just moving in the right direction, throwing the ball to people on your team, and not necessarily just tossing it up.
Alabama, what I really am, the script I want to see is them be sharper in the non-quote big games, because that was DeBoer's problem last year. He was great in the big games.
Yeah.
But it was those Oklahomas, Vanderbilts, that in the Pac-12 he could get away with coasting through those. He can't do that in the SEC, and those were the games that tripped Alabama up. I mean, other than Tennessee, which is a big deal, but I would love to see Alabama much more sharp in those games, because I do believe that they're going to be solid in the big games. The fairy tale is Ty Simpson has a Mac Jones-like season, because I think their parallels are similar. And a guy who kind of everybody's talking about the new freshman coming in. For Mac, it was Bryce Young. For For Ty Simpson, it's Russell. But, look, I think Alabama, I don't think it's a fairy tale to say goes to the playoff and makes a deep run. I think they have the ability to do that. Yeah. They've just got to be sharper in those games. So fairy tale is, let's say Bama goes to the championship game and Simpson has a Mac Jones-like season.
You almost got it right. The fairy tale's got to be lifting the trophy, man. It's got to be, right?
Yeah, that would be.
The reality is getting to the national championship.
Yeah,
no, I'm totally kidding.
I'm never not upset if Alabama loses. I don't care who they're playing. But
I think I said our reality was about 10-2.
I think that's right. I do think they will make the playoffs. Yeah. I really do.
Yeah.
So for the Yankees, I know we're kind of halfway into the season here.
Baseball.
Honest to God, the basic kind of storybook is Yankees pitching continues to develop, and they make another deep run into the playoffs, possibly going back to the World Series, but at least making the AL championship series. The fairy tale is somehow Judge hits 400. That would be so cool.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
And, I mean, one of the most unassuming guys, like, you want to say Luis Arias would hit 400 or, back in the day, Ichiro or something. Okay.
Yeah.
Aaron Judge?
Yeah. Power hitter.
Yeah. I mean, it'd be like, Chuck Knobloch hitting 80 home runs. I mean, it's just not. Yeah, exactly. It just doesn't make sense. So the fairy tale for me is the Yanks win the World Series and Judge hits 400, becoming the first man to do so since, 1941? I think Ted hit 406. Yeah, it's a long time ago. I think Glenn Manley was in college back then.
He was maybe his.
It was his sophomore year.
Yeah, he was a sophomore there. Yeah,
but anyway, that would be my fairy tale there, obviously, for the Yanks. I don't really have any other teams I'm all that strongly behind. Yeah. I mean, I love the Preds, but I don't follow them enough to really have anything else. But that'd be kind of my scripts, I guess, if you will.
I like it.
Yeah.
Very, very cool. And you brought a baseball one. We didn't touch on that one yesterday. Yeah. I guess we probably could have, but I think all of us, we'd have some similar parallels, I think.
I think it'd be so good for the game because, the 70 and then 73 and then obviously, 755, all of those were kind of shrouded in the steroid era.
Yeah.
I think it would be so good for the game if a big number went down in the next couple of years, whether it be a 56-game hitting streak or hitting 400 or, we get a 30-game winner. Those would be huge for the game of baseball.
Yeah, because you're in this new non-steroid era, supposedly.
Yeah,
all that
and
stuff.
I would love to see something like that, happen. Even if somebody, let's say, hits 74, I still think it's tainted. So I would love to see it in one of those other kind of areas where they're, seminal numbers in baseball that actually, get accomplished. I think it'd be good for the game.
Yeah. I got to get me one of those Utah Mammoth jerseys. Those are sweet. What do you guys think?
I like the jerseys. Seeing the name for the first time on screen, Utah Mammoth, just didn't look right to me.
Yeah, the name is one thing, that's for sure. But
the logo's fire.
Yeah,
I'll give it
the logo's pretty sweet.
It is, but it's right next to Utah Jazz, which is an oxymoron in and of itself. So, I mean, it's what it is.
True.
I like when cities do that because we only got one city that utilizes the same color scheme. That's the Pittsburghs.
Yeah, the Pittsburghs.
That's true.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. It'll be interesting to see how they do. The expansion draft is always, I feel like it gives you a nice head start.
Yeah,
but they're not an expansion team.
No, they're not.
Yeah.
The Coyotes moved over, but I guess they just picked up somebody from the Buffalo Sabres, so they're talking to the owner of the Jazz and the Mammoth on the Pat McAfee.
Nice.
Yeah. Good stuff.
I wish that they would do. You know how we're getting all of these crazy jerseys across sports?
Yes.
I wish that the Braves would come out with how the White Sox did with their City Connect, where it looks like the Bulls.
Yes.
I like those, man. I think it's cool.
Paying homage to another team in your market there.
So you want to see the Braves do like a little Dirty Bird?
Yeah, or even the Hawks would be that would be a cool color scheme, and they're not too far off. The black and red would look wild, but
you could have them do a compilation of all the hockey teams they've had.
That's true. That's true. Just all over that jersey.
They always seem to get one, lose them in 5 years. years. Get another one, lose them in 5 years.
But the bad part about that is the combination between the Jets and the Flames isn't a great combination.
Well, and the Thrashers.
Yeah.
Fair enough. That'd be ugly.
And I heard some rumbling.
Yeah, no, Winnipeg was Hartford. Never mind. Never mind. But I just thought Jets
That's a
plays.
great classic jersey, too, the Whalers
yes,
jersey.
Oh, yeah, there's rumblings out there in line again.
Yeah, that they're talking
That's
about
what I'm
trying
thinking.
to bring
God, how many times?
Yeah. I guess what's the definition of insanity? Trying the same thing over and over again, expecting a different result.
The Atlanta Claims.
Yeah.
Because they claimed to have a hockey team for 3 years and then they moved somewhere else.
There you go. Maybe they could just
call them the Temps.
There you go.
Yeah.
The Temporarians.
Yeah.
And they actually come to you to serve you tickets.
Georgia does touch Florida, though, and Florida's the new capital of ice hockey in the world. So maybe they can pull some of that good vibe out of the Florida, even though it's the Panhandle where they touch. But yeah, I'm sure Canadians are thrilled with all that going on. But yeah. All right, real quick. NBA draft action. No surprise, number 1 pick, Cooper Flagg, is now a Dallas Maverick. He was obviously a shoo-in for that top pick, and talking about that whole situation kind of became a little boring, but he will be an immediate impact player on a legit playoff caliber team. Of course, if they all stay healthy and when they get Kyrie Irving back. He represents everything lost in the inexplicable Luka Doncic trade. He's officially a new day in Dallas. And, Brian, what do you think about Cooper? You think he's going to make a big-time impact there for the Dallas
I
Mavs?
do. I think that team's actually set up pretty well.
Not very often that you get a top player going to a good good team.
Every time, the big kind of moment to where his name really started getting out there was, when they were talking about this kid who was at that time like 14.
Yeah.
And he was holding his own against college players when they were doing like these camps and things. And it seems like every time he goes up against more seasoned, maybe, more physically mature talent, he holds his own and plays well. So while it's difficult to expect a guy to walk right into the NBA, it's not like it was 40 years ago, but it's difficult to expect that. Every time he seems to have been faced with this, he's done very well. So I would expect him to make some level of an instant impact, but fortunately for him, he's not going to have to be the only guy. It's not a Zion in New Orleans kind of situation. He's got some weapons around him, and if they can mesh together, that team could make a run this year.
Yeah, if Anthony Davis can stay healthy, if Kyrie comes back, he doesn't have to be what he was at Duke. He can certainly be more of a recipient of a lot of different things versus the one making it all happen. He's got a good core there in Dallas. Number 2 pick, despite all the shade Michigan Eddie was throwing earlier at the University of Rutgers, don't underestimate Dylan Harper, the number 2 pick who has gone now to the San Antonio Spurs. At his peak, will likely have a superstar profile. His fit is a little wonky, though, with De'Aaron Fox and Stephon Castle in the Spurs backcourt. But as John Hallinger wrote, part of The Athletic, it's a bet on pure talent there for the San Antonio Spurs. And they have plenty of it now on that roster. Brian, what do you think?
Another one that, could actually make a pretty instant impact.
Yeah,
it's another team. It's another team that if Victor comes back healthy, might be ready to make a bit of a run. Now, I don't think they're done.
Yeah.
I think they've got some trades in play here in the next month or 6 weeks. So it'll be interesting to see how they finally shape that team, because I think they're ready to run now.
Yeah.
So there may be some movement here, and quite frankly, they may make some movement with Harper as a piece. I'm not 100% sure. I think more likely if that were going to be the case, they'd have done it last night.
Yeah.
But the Spurs are a mystery to me. I know they have more to do. I just don't know which way they're going to go.
Absolutely. And how much do you think of an impact Popovich not being the head coach of that team anymore? I know he's still kind of involved with the program.
It's hard to say. Look, he's a guy I never really cared for all that much. But what I did like about him is he seemed to have a lot of people with a lot of input around him. So I don't know that it's that hard, for these people to slot in, because I do think it's been a bit of coach by committee, at least for the last several years. So I don't know that it'll have that big an impact. And he is still around, but I don't think it'll have that much of an impact.
Yeah. Good stuff. Good stuff. Couple other surprising, intriguing things. You had Ace Bailey, who was kind of the dramatic one of this NBA draft, still went to Utah at number 5, even though he said he didn't want to go there, declined doing a workout for the Jazz. And then, of course, Portland kind of stunned everybody by picking Chinese center Yang Hansen, who was originally projected to be a second rounder at number 16. What do you think is going to shake out with Utah and Bailey, even though there was kind of some, for lack of a better term, animosity prior to the draft?
Look, I get we're in a new world, but I never like the notion that guys put out teams they want to play for. Yeah. I never liked the notion of it wasn't on my preferred list. You know, I am one of those people who, believes in the fairy tale, to take us back to the beginning of this segment, that just getting drafted into the league is a big deal.
Yeah.
And
not many people get that opportunity.
Right. So, I mean, I get it. And look, he had a lot of nice things to say about Utah, so it wasn't like, but this isn't new either.
No,
I'm not saying this. I mean, I remember Jim Kelly famously, where would you rather play, Houston or Buffalo, when he was talking about the USFL. I mean, I get it, but I don't love that. But that being said, Utah's got a lot of good young pieces there. Ace Bailey's problem is he was very inconsistent. His talent's up with everybody, but he's very inconsistent, so it's a bit of a worry. But, maybe going into a situation, and Utah taking Walter Clayton Jr., who's a little more seasoned guy, obviously had the big postseason run with the Gators, maybe allows Bailey a little bit of time to settle in where he doesn't have to be the guy. Now, whether or not his ego can sustain that, we'll have to see. But it was an interesting pick, but I wouldn't say shocking. I mean, his talent is there that if you're Utah and you feel like, look, we got another first-round pick. We got some good young pieces. Yeah. And they seem to be involved somehow in every trade that ever happens in the NBA. Like, they weasel themselves in as the third wheel all the time.
Yeah.
Why not take a shot on a guy like that?
Absolutely.
The biggest story for me in last night's draft is, you want to talk about how evident the game has changed, is after Cooper went number 1, 7 straight guards.
Yeah.
You don't think this is a perimeter game now? That's crazy.
Certainly changed to that, that's for sure. I heard you guys talking yesterday, David. You were kind of comparing the Warriors to the Bulls, and some of those stats of the shooting side of things were just wild. But it also makes sense. Different eras of the game, and it seems to be changing, quite often.
We're diving deeper into that next Wednesday, where I'm going to come up with a set list of questions. I'm really going to try to put some time and effort into that. And I like it because you got Caveman Rick's perspective on that, who's like in, middle 40s or whatever. Yep. You got mine, who's in the middle of his 30s, and you got Banji, who's in the middle of his 20s.
Yeah.
So you kind of have all of those, eras represented in the argument.
Yes, absolutely.
And all we can hear is Michael Jordan, Michael Jordan, Michael Jordan. As a Michael Jordan guy, that is a tiresome argument just to say his name and be like, that's enough said.
Right. Biggest flop, arguably, of the draft, first round last night anyway, for a team that's really already in dire straits. That's New Orleans Pelicans. They traded next year's first-round pick unprotected to Atlanta in order to trade up for Maryland's Derek Queen at the number 13 pick. That pick could be number 1 next year, and they let it go for the number 13 pick in this year's draft. Pretty wild stuff out of New Orleans, but at the same time, they've kind of...
Well, the other part of that trade that was interesting is Asa Newell was kind of dropping. And, the fact that he gets traded to Atlanta, stays really close to home, which he played at Georgia.
Yeah.
And that maybe makes it a little more comfortable for him. He gets a positive out of a night that was probably seen as mostly a negative, because a lot of people had him, kind of maybe 10 to 13 in that round. I'm sure he was looking at the Hawks, who picked, at 13, I believe it was. Yeah, 13.
Ended up
and then,
23.
he was the best guy on the board really from there on, and did not go until 23. So it worked out okay for him. But it's one of those moves that you scratch your head a little bit in terms of value. Could work out, maybe not. But
I mean, they could get that lottery, that number 1 pick next year, and then certainly be beneficial to the Atlanta Hawks. Brooklyn Nets with 5 picks. They got Igor Demin. He's a power forward from Michigan Eddie's favorite BYU University. Carter Bryant, who's a strong forward from Arizona in the number 14 pick. Nolan Traore, he's a point guard. I don't think he went to college. France, yeah, another overseas guy there. And then you had Drake Powell, the number 22 pick. He's a guard from UNC. And then the 26th and 27th picks, Ben Seraph, a guard from overseas, as well as Danny Wolf, who was a power forward from Michigan. So 5 picks there for the Brooklyn Nets, trying to turn it around.
Yeah, so
there.
Powell actually drafted by the Hawks, was then traded to Brooklyn. But they had they basically drafted an entire new team last night.
Starting 5. Yeah. Starting 5. We got to take a quick break. When we get back, we're going to dive deep into the Madden curse and find out if it happens more often than not. David Hayes smiling behind the glass. You're listening to The Inside Drive. We'll be right back.
ESPN Northwest Florida, available on all your devices.
Connected.
Hear your favorite sports talk hosts.
On the Coach James Hale Show.
You're listening to The Inside Drive live.
The afternoon underdog.
And your favorite teams.
Braves win it!
We're live on the app. Tune in, Alexa, ESPNPC.com, Facebook, YouTube, and in your car at 101.9 and 104.3. Wherever you go, there we are. ESPN Northwest Florida.
When you bring your vehicle to Panama City Toyota for repairs or maintenance, you'll get the warmest welcome around.
That's because we see service differently.
It's not only an expert team that can help with everything, from simple adjustments to a new set of tires. It's also a team that values your time, so we make your experience as quick and comfortable as possible. Because we're committed to service that goes beyond. Only at Panama City Toyota.
Your biggest investment is your home. Protect it while also improving its appearance with Earthworks of Northwest Florida. We have sand, mulch, gravel, or lay down decorative stone, all available for pickup and delivery. Discover your dream landscape with Earthworks of Northwest Florida. Imagine the moment you proudly pull up to your home that you've worked so hard for, enhanced by quality mulch, decorative stones, and more. Let's make it happen today. Request a quote online at earthworkspc.com or swing by the office at 2005 Industrial Drive. Love the land you live on.
No one wants to deal with a plumbing, electrical, or HVAC emergency. It's even worse when you're not sure what it'll cost, when it'll get fixed, or if someone's just selling you something. When you call Hiller, you can trust our experts to actually solve your home's problems quickly. And with true transparency pricing, you know the price you're told is the price you'll actually pay. Book online now at happyhiller.com. Happy you'll be, or the service is free.
Call the Happy Face Truck today.
Now back to the Inside Drive, live and local from the Gulf Plus studios. Live from the 19th hole.
I can't believe you're a professional golfer. I think you should be working at the snack bar.
It's the Inside Drive.
The price is wrong.
ESPN Northwest Florida.
Portions of this program may have been previously recorded.
And welcome back. You're listening to The Inside Drive live here on ESPN Northwest Florida. Your home for the Atlanta Braves right here on the Gulf Coast. We got another game coming up tonight right after the afternoon underdogs. Can the Braves make it 6-1 against the Mets this season? We will certainly find out after the afternoon underdogs. Coverage starts at 6, first pitch 6:10. And then, of course, you've got several more games throughout the weekend. You got a 3-game series with the Philadelphia Phillies at home up there in Truist Park, or at Truist Park, I should say. Tomorrow is going to be 6 p.m. right after the afternoon underdogs. First pitch 6:15, and then the same first pitch on Saturday, but coverage starts at 5 p.m. And then on Sunday, you've got your matinee game coverage starting at 11:20, followed by first pitch at 12:35. Again, a little 3-game series against the division-leading Philadelphia Phillies, who were shut out for the second time in a row by those Houston Astros last night. So, Braves got to win these games against your divisional rivals, because that's the only way you can really play a lot of catch-up. Also saw that Ronald Acuna Jr. is going to be competing in the Home Run Derby in his own park.
Yeah, and he's on fire.
That's pretty exciting stuff. Now, are you worried? A lot of times when guys go to home run derby, they come back and they, may have a little bit of a slump afterwards. Any worries of that with Ronald Acuna Jr.? Or you think maybe this will ignite him because he's playing,
already ignited.
He's already on fire.
So the chances is that no, it ruins a swing. However, he swings
like that more often than not anyway.
Well, you
right?
got to have a representative
of
there.
course.
If you've got someone who can hit the long ball, then you got to have a representative in the home run derby. So if it does affect a swing, hey, let this be the year that it happens, right?
Because still got a long way to go. But
I don't know. I'm excited about it, and there's also been the instances with like Juan Soto, who's struggling going into the All-Star break, and gets into. So that's why I say with him hitting as hot as he is, hopefully it doesn't affect him. But if it is going to affect him, it's going to affect him adversely.
Yes, good points. Yeah, but that'll be exciting for the I'm going to call it the makeup All-Star game.
Yeah, there you
Atlanta.
go.
And
she's pretty though.
Yeah, she is. Little action there for him. That's going to be fun to be watching, or if you have the lucky opportunity to be up there for the home run derby, that'll be a wonderful experience. All right, is the curse real or is it not? Let's dive into it and see what kind of percentage of, and we can all kind of vote, and then I'll put one in the yes column or one in the no column.
Who's this article from?
This is from CBS Sports.
Yeah, they do it like every year.
Yeah, Cody Benjamin from June 2nd. And it's just so funny, too, how like college football and NFL football have video games that are so tied in to their sport that it just makes it, pretty cool. What, college football is coming out here pretty soon?
July 10th.
July 10th.
Apparently, they've made a lot of strides, too. The coaches are going to be in the games.
Yeah.
Weather's not going to be a big factor, but I imagine that it will be next year because Madden always gets the newest stuff.
Yep, yeah.
And then in July or college football, that's how it used to be. We don't, last year everything was new for college football.
Yep.
However, you're going to see the new stuff go to Madden, and so college football will always be a year behind, but it will also have its upgrades and whatnot that you could only do for collegiate things.
Of course. Looking forward to both of those. Obviously, like you were saying, the Madden's kind of got more weather impacting, like footing and stuff like that. Much more, quote unquote, realistic, so to speak. But let's dive into this. Again, this is from CBSSports.com. Cody Benjamin's article will start. It's basically the last 25 years. 2001 Tennessee Titans running back Eddie George. George went on to rush for more than 1,500 yards in his cover season, but he also lost a career-high number of fumbles, coughed up the ball in the Titans' season-ending playoff game, and never averaged more than 3.4 carries for the rest of his career. Cursed or not cursed?
Yeah, probably not on that one.
Yeah, I say
that's
no.
more coincidence.
How old was Eddie George in 2001?
Wasn't that old because he was a rookie, in 95? So what would he be, late 20s?
Yeah, so that was his 5th season.
Yeah, 28 maybe. I mean, they played 4 years back then. So what, 28, 29?
Yeah, they did play 4 years back then. Oh, it's funny. Well,
I'll say no curse.
Okay, so 2 no curse. I've got it as a curse because of the average after the fact, and then the Benjamin has it as cursed as well. So
but, 1,500 yards.
Yeah, okay, I'll give it to you. Not cursed in that one.
Ooh, sway the mind, sway the mind.
After that, he got too interested in running his restaurant.
Yeah,
which, by the way, was very good.
Well, he spent a lot of time doing it, apparently. Oh, good stuff.
Thank you, Eddie George.
Yes. 2002, Minnesota Vikings quarterback Dante Culpepper. After throwing 33 touchdowns and going 11-5 as a first-time starter in 2000, Culpepper took a nosedive during his cover season. Injuries cost him 6 games. He fumbled 16 times and threw 14 touchdowns compared to 13 interception and went 4-7 in his starts. I got to say that one's cursed.
He's cursed, and don't forget, Rich Gannon, who had been with the Vikings, had a MVP season in 2002 with the Raiders.
So that's even like
they were
double curse.
Completely cursed that year.
Absolutely.
So yes, I'll go with that one.
And I got it too. So that's 2 out of 3. So David, what do you think?
Doesn't even matter.
It doesn't.
I'll agree with you guys.
All right. 2003, Rams running back Marshall Faulk, Hall of Famer, entered his cover season having logged 5 straight 1,000-yard seasons and 3 straight 1,300-yard campaigns. But in 2002, Faulk broke down, missing almost half a dozen starts. He never topped 1,000 yards again. God, he was so good.
Was that the year they lost Warner? Was that the year he retired?
Did he go to the Cardinals yet at that point?
Well, he did retire before he went to the Cardinals.
That's right.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, because it was right around then that they went to Green or Bolger, whoever they went to. Or
I think it was. That's fun. Was it Trent Green or
I can't
Mark?
remember which
I want to
one
say
it
it
was.
was. I want to say it was Mark Bolger, and then Trent Green came from the Chiefs.
It's a tough one.
A slight curse.
All right. That counts in the yes column for me. David Hayes, what do you got?
I'll say yes.
Okay. Well, my opinion does not matter then. All right. That is another yes. And we've done 3, right? Yep, 3. Okay. 2004 Atlanta quarterback Michael Vick. In the game, Michael Vick was unstoppable thanks to his unmatched speed. On the field, despite exploding onto the scene as the number 1 pick, a fractured fibula less than a week after the game's release sidelined him for all but 5 games. And then obviously 4 years later, he ended up in jail.
That's 100% curse.
All right.
You break your leg a week after the game comes out, that's a curse.
Yeah, no doubt.
Well, so it was Trent Green, and then it was Kurt Warner, and then it was Mark Bolger.
Oh, okay.
There you go.
See, I'm just too old. I remember them all. I was wondering, I didn't say Vince Ferragamo while we were at it.
And I wouldn't know who that is, so that's perfect. All right, David,
Gabriel.
Michael Vick, yes or no? Yes. All right.
I wrote a paper in college on him coming, like his comeback.
I think I remember you. This is probably the same time last year when we were doing the same exercise. 2005, Baltimore Ravens linebacker Ray Lewis. His interception total dropped from 6 to 0 in 2004, his cover year, and then the Ravens also missed the playoffs. But that's nitpicking. He still logged 147 tackles. If we're talking about the following year, that might be a case to be made as he missed 10 games. I'll start this one. I don't think he was cursed.
No, I agree. No curse.
All right, no curse. So we're 3-2 right now. Yeses to no. 2006, Eagles quarterback Donovan McNabb. McNabb hit his peak in 2004, throwing 31 touchdowns and leading the Eagles to Super Bowl 34. But 2005 was rock bottom. He scuffled with Terrell Owens.
Shocking.
And missed almost half of a 6-10 season. He went on to miss 8 games over the next 2 years as well.
So the downward slide started before he was the cover guy.
2004 or 2000, he was peak in 2004.
Right, 5 he struggled, and then he was a cover guy for 6. I'm going to say no curse there.
All right. David?
Curse.
I like it. I'm going to say yes, too, just because my 2 roommates in college were both from the area, and they were huge Philadelphia Eagles fans, and that was peak Philadelphia Eagles, and I was just tired of hearing it. So I'm going to go with curse as well. Next, we've got Seattle Seahawks running back Sean Alexander. Like Falk, he entered his cover year with 5 straight 1,000-yard seasons under his belt, and his dominance also came to a halt. In 2006, his rushing total dropped from 1,880 to 896, and 2 years later, he was out of the NFL as a Washington Redskins washout.
Curse. Because Sean was the man.
Yeah, he was. Alabama, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. One of the greatest. I'll say cursed as well.
Although, to be fair, almost all of these athletes are going to be probably coming off their career year.
Yeah. So it's hard to live up to that expectation.
Anything's going to look, but nobody likes fairness, so keep going.
Yeah, absolutely. Quarterback from Tennessee Titans, Mr. Vince Young. He was the offensive rookie of the year in 2006. For his cover year, though, he just threw 9 touchdowns compared to 17 interceptions. He missed a game and earned a seat on the bench for 2008, never fully regaining Jeff Fisher's trust.
That ain't a curse. That's Jeff Idiot 8-8 Fisher.
There you go. There you go.
Yeah, but I mean, when you throw 9 touchdowns to 17 interceptions, don't you? And I hate this, but don't you kind of
there was nothing mystical about Jeff Fisher's mismanagement of Vince Young.
I'm not going to disagree.
Curse.
I won't disagree with you there. I'm just saying too, if you're there, he did mismanage him, and he didn't want Vince Young.
He just didn't want him,
right?
Yeah.
And so that played a pivotal role in the confidence, which a quarterback's got to be the most confident person on the team, right? So it did play a role in his confidence. However, regardless of that, 9-17 is still tough.
Yeah.
So
Jeff handled him like he put money on the curse.
Yeah. That's a good point.
No curse for me.
All right, David.
I won't. I'll say that it's None of these to me have to exactly what he said. It has nothing to do with your face being on the cover of a magazine.
No.
Fun to talk about, or the cover of a video game.
No, Michael Vick's leg broke. That was why.
But I will say, playing with this game, yes, curse.
Okay. I'm actually going to go no curse on this one. Brian kind of convinced me of that with Jeff Fisher's mismanagement. And maybe that is a leg of the curse. I mean, again, this is all hypothetical and all that.
To be fair, I have an unhealthy hatred of Jeff Fisher. So,
all right, well, I'm going to go back to the other side then and say it is indeed a curse. Because you have a bias.
But again, I told you, I don't like fairness. I keep saying that to be fair.
I know. All right, maybe we get one more in before we got to take a break.
Hornets just traded Mark Williams.
Ooh, there you go.
I think to the Suns, if I read that right.
So interesting. 2009, Packers/Jets quarterback Brett Favre. EA began making Favre the cover athlete as a tribute to his Packers career, which had just ended. But then Favre forced his way in and out. Forced his way out and into New York. All he did there was throw an NFL high 22 picks and hurt his shoulder before moving to Minnesota.
I'd say EA was cursed in that deal.
Yeah, that was a father time curse.
Yeah.
I mean, it's hard to say curse because everybody goes to New York and lays an egg, but I'll say curse here.
That's fair.
Yeah, I'll agree with Coach Haddad there. It is a curse, but it's like, what do you expect differently?
Yeah, you weren't really in a good situation there.
You got to go in, you got to get to the Super Bowl, and just for the Jets to win another one, they're going to need they're going to need for their quarterback to come out and claim that they are guaranteeing.
Yeah, you just got to pull a Broadway Joe and make it happen, because I'm trying to think the last good quarterback that played for the New York Jets, and
then you can make the argument for Chad Pennington.
I mean, Sanchez had some
moments.
Success.
Yeah, and wait, what, AFC?
I think they made some runs to the championship, but that was predicated on a
Kenny
great
O'Brien
defense.
had a few good years, but
it's got to be tough to be a Jets fan. Whew, absolutely. We got to go ahead and take a quick break. We'll pick this up in the final segment, but we'll talk about some afternoon delight debriefs coming up next.
Weather in the Panhandle never stops. Turn to 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
This is Joanna with your latest forecast.
Up to the minute weather reports all day long.
A chance of thunderstorms and moderate rain.
In-depth storm coverage.
Winter Storm Enzo.
And breaking weather as it happens.
Hurricane Helene.
ESPN Northwest Florida.
We do have a tropical storm warning.
Rely on it.
Good afternoon. This is Joanna on ESPN Northwest Florida with your forecast on this Monday. Likely thunderstorms and light rain the remainder of the day with a gentle breeze around 11 miles per hour out of the west-southwest, and look for it to be 83. Tonight, there will be very light showers and likely thunderstorms with a temperature reaching 76. Definite thunderstorms and sprinkles tomorrow with a high of 81. This weather is brought to you by Ellis Agency Insurance. Thank you for listening to ESPN Northwest Florida. Rely on it.
Hi folks, it's Tracy with Tracy's Fine Jewelry and Coin and Bullion Reserves. Did you know that we do more than just sell some of the finest jewelry in town? We can engrave on your wedding band, locket, Yeti cup, or almost anything. Need your watch battery changed? We can do that too. Our expert will even evaluate your coin collection. And of course, we always pay top dollar for your old gold and silver jewelry. See, there's a lot more to Tracy's Fine Jewelry than a lot of pretty sparkly things. Come and see us today at Tracy's Fine Jewelry.
WGSX Lynn Haven, WPLQ Port St. John. Powered by Panama City Toyota, ESPN Northwest Florida.
Now in stock at Tommy Otto's.
2015 Jeep Grand Cherokee Altitude. Luxury at a value price. $13,995 or a 2017 Hyundai Santa Fe Sport with one owner. Sporty and affordable. $11,995 at Tommy Autos.
Buy here, pay here. Financing options available. Everyone is approved. Tommy Autos, 2209 West 15th Street, Panama City. 850-960-8664. For the latest deals and specials, follow Tommy Autos on Facebook. Add tag, tax, and title.
Broadcasting from the Gulf Plus Studios. It's the Inside Drive. And now, the afternoon delight debrief with the three degenerates from the Inside Drive.
Afternoon delight.
ESPN Northwest Florida.
Portions of this program may have been previously recorded.
Skyrockets in
are back. You're listening to the Inside Drive live here on ESPN Northwest Florida. Our 8-year happy birthday to ESPN Northwest Florida, giving you all your local sports and national sports and betting information and DFS information and the Madden curse, all the fun stuff we love to talk about. Sometimes it's about sports, sometimes it's not, but we love to have a lot of fun here on ESPN Northwest Florida. We appreciate everybody who has been along for the ride. Even if it's been just a year, we appreciate you hopping on. If it's been all 8 years, we appreciate your support very much. You can also watch, listen, like, comment, subscribe, share, follow. That is Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. Working on the old TikTok side of things. I don't think it was Tiki streams or whatever it was yesterday, but
no, I don't. From what I was looking up yesterday, I'm not saying that it's not possible. I'm telling you that I'm not going to. It's not going to be a simple process, so more than likely it ain't happening. Well, that's the whole thing, is it has to be through a phone, and then you have to put it in a vMix. I was looking through the step-by-step process, and I'm like, we've got too much space. I'd have to ask too many questions.
No doubt. Well, maybe we'll just do it.
It would be cool to be able to share. You could do that. Yeah. You can get a phone to do that. Or if you could,
careful on the brakes.
Share the Facebook feed to TikTok.
Gotcha. That I may try.
Or YouTube.
Yeah, that I may try. But if you want to download our free mobile app inside the Google Play or Apple Store, 104.3 is all you got to search up. Head over to ESPNPC.com. At the top of the page, you'll see the link for Scorpion TV. Over 5,000 live streaming channels, including ESPN, ESPN Plus, pay-per-view events, Scorpion TV, 5,000 local network channels from Panama City and beyond, all throughout the country. Also got the movie channels like HBO, Cinemax Stars, plus 200 and more entertainment and news networks. Or watch all those movies on demand, even though David recanted his contest. It was pretty
if someone gets it done, then...
Yeah, it's pretty much unachievable to begin with.
Exactly.
But, for a mere $45.08 a month with code ESPNNW, you can get that great price. You can watch it up to 5 devices at the same time. Cut the cord, not the fun, as Bone Crusher says, and score Scorpion TV. Just go to ESPNPC.com and click the Scorpion TV logo. Good stuff. Get out. You got to do it now because football season is literally around the corner. We are inside 70 days for NFL and inside, I think, 56 days for college football. Do you want to talk about Golf Plus one more time? Retail, fitting, and repair, everything you could possibly need from a golfer's side of things. Even if you're not a golfer and you just have golfer friends in your life, it's 1,000,000 degrees outside and it rains pretty much every day. You know where it doesn't rain? Inside Golf Plus. They've got the simulator. If you want to get fitted, they've got that. But you can also just book the simulator time as well to play a round of golf. What would normally take 4 hours, maybe more, will take you only an hour and a half, maybe 2 hours if you have 4 people. Again, just go to Golf Plus. Is the website still Golf Plus Dothan, or has he changed it to I'll find out from him. But anyway, just search up Golf Plus on the Google machine and you'll find their website. And you can book directly through their website and check out their new Facebook page, Golf Plus PCB. Golf Plus PCB on Facebook. So all that good stuff. I'll check out the website information here. But we got to dive into some afternoon delight debriefs. If you're a documentary buff like me and Beth are, a new one came out last night. They've got a great series on Netflix called Trainwreck, and it's all sorts of different disasters, crazy things that have happened. And I don't know if you guys remember, back in 2013, the Carnival Triumph was dubbed the Poop Cruise, as it was a disaster, and they really did a great job, great job. I'm sure Carnivals, if you wanted to make some money, you probably want to short Carnival stock this morning. But anyway, basically what happened is there was a fire down in the engine room, and it burned all the power cords to the entire ship. So they were in the middle of the Gulf of, they said Mexico on the thing, but they were in the middle of the Gulf, just floating with no power, no sanitation, none of those things. And it took a long time for them to get back. But the New York Post put out an article this morning from somebody who was on the Poop Cruise and said the Netflix documentary fails to capture the true horror of 4 days at sea with no food, power, or sanitation. The scariest thing that they'd ever been through. If you don't know about it, the cruise from Texas to Mexico spiraled into chaos after an engine room fire triggered a massive electrical failure, leaving over 4,000 passengers and crews wading through urine, feces, and camping on the deck. It's the focus of the documentary. It came out yesterday, Trainwreck, Poop Cruise. It was released yesterday, June 24th. But one of the passengers, Tay Redford, 24, has watched the trailer and is hurt. Now, the bakery owner from Enid, Oklahoma, said she was just 12 when the ship lost power, leaving passengers in the darkness, surrounded by sewage, and struggling for basic necessities. She recalls the fear and chaos vividly, saying Carnival didn't offer meaningful support after the ordeal. Gripped by long-term trauma, Tay worries the documentary will not represent the survivors' voices and vows to never cruise again.
So, I don't know if this is going to be in the documentary or not. But
I can tell you, we watched it last night.
Okay, the thing I remember most vividly about the story, because it ended up docking in Mobile Bay.
Yes, yeah.
And so they let them out at Mobile. That's right. And so what I remember about this, and you want to talk about people who really just have no luck at all. So there were a few people who just got off and stayed, but for whatever, Carnival didn't put people up in downtown Mobile hotels.
Yeah.
So they put them on buses and were sending them to New Orleans, and one of the buses to New Orleans broke down.
Oh, man.
So you've just come out of this entire disaster. They put you on a bus for 3 hours or whatever it is from Mobile to New Orleans, probably about 3 hours, and one of them breaks down. I mean, at that point, I'm looking for a bridge, and I'm just,
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know.
Because they originated from Galveston, Texas.
Yeah.
So even from New Orleans to Galveston was still a long way.
Right.
They had to get back home.
But so anyway, I just distinctly remember that going, how bad did those people just have it?
I mean, I was watching it last night, and I always put myself into the situation, and I couldn't think of anything more terrifying and scary. And just, you're trapped. There's nowhere you can go. There's nothing that works.
I said this when Michael hit here because I vaguely remember as a child Hurricane Frederick, where we didn't have power or water, and it was the late 70s. Yes, David, we had water back then. But
what?
But
shocking.
When Michael hit, I remember thinking people have an understanding of how to live without power.
Yeah.
There's not a lot of people who've truly been through living without running water and sanitation. And so think about that out in the middle of the Gulf. That had to have been terrifying.
Well, and the cruise director was kind of one of the main focus of the interviews and all that stuff. And they said they have power outage, stuff like that happens, but the engineers just go down and figure it out, and power gets turned back on. Well, so they were so hopeful that would happen, so that when they actually went down there and saw, all the electrical cords were just melted, and it was the entire power it was the power to the entire ship.
Yeah.
And she's just like, now what do we do?
That's right.
I mean, and
they don't have the handbook for that.
No. I mean,
they do now.
They do now, that's for sure. But they were telling everybody to use the showers for number one, and they handed out red bags for number two that they had to put out in the hallways, and then crew members would go collect them and put them further down in the ship. And it was just watching that was
so disgusting.
awful. But and then at the same point is you've got all that, and then it's got nowhere to go. So it just starts rising. And when it got bad is when the tugs finally got there. And when they were tugging back in, the ship wasn't balanced on its axis. It was tipped to the side. So everything was spilling over and coming out. And you just think about all the food on the ship, all the stuff that doesn't last long. And when you go to port, you get stuff redone. And this was what's crazy too. I hate to keep talking about this, but it's a great afternoon delight debrief. Is they made it an open bar at some point where they were just trying to get people to, I guess, use the product. But that was probably the worst decision you can make. One, it's going to make you have to use the bathroom a lot more. Two, it's going to make people pissed off. You're hot. You're hungry. You're panicking. So there was fights. There was just that's like who made that decision?
We're in a bad situation right now. You know what's coming to my mind? We need people to relax. Let's just feed them free booze.
Yep.
Yeah.
There we go.
Yeah,
well, and the thing is, I can remember one time I didn't know the New Orleans casinos had to go out on the water.
Yeah.
and I was out of money. And as you all know, out of money in casinos is pretty miserable.
Yes.
I remember walking out, figuring out we were out on the water, thinking, I can swim back.
Yeah.
Now, you're on the Gulf of Mexico, or America, or whatever you want to call it. You ain't swimming back because you probably can't even see shore from where they were. So, it's... But
yeah. I mean, what's going through your head? You know, why? I mean, I just couldn't imagine being in that situation. That's terrifying.
Yeah,
and especially if you had like a child with you.
Oh yeah.
One of the main focus of the the people that were on the ship was a dad and his daughter, who at the time was 12, and like he couldn't protect her because it's just pure anarchy. Because once it turns into everybody for themselves, like that's not a situation most people will ever or have ever been in. So.
It's amazing how quickly general society can break down too.
Yeah, absolutely.
It really is.
The control and the organization and the lack of panic just goes completely away in those situations. But not to continue with the bad stuff, but this is maybe not hopefully we don't have any chiropractors listening, but according to reports, Jonathan Bucklew suffered a brainstem stroke after following a neck adjustment in 2015, but his condition went undiagnosed for a full day. He's now 34. He is fully conscious but unable to move or speak. A court held multiple medical professionals liable for failing to detect and to treat the stroke in time. He was awarded $75 million after a routine chiropractor visit left him permanently paralyzed with locked-in syndrome. What are you going to do with $75 million if you can't move? Take care of your family?
Yeah.
I don't know. Anyway,
I'm probably going to watch everybody around you have a good time, I guess.
I'm going to go get a new golf set from Golf Plus.
Yeah.
I'm going to order Scorpion TV and probably
get one of the talking things.
Yeah,
I guess.
Yeah, there you go.
I don't know, but that's a super sad and disappointing story. I'll pivot to a nicer one.
I'm going to accomplish my own goal and win a That Boot Store gift certificate by watching all the movies on Scorpion TV.
There you go. This is back from May 31st. It was the Tomahawk Fevers post, which is a Braves a Braves social media page. But anyway, the title is Waitress Sees Austin Riley's Check. I'll get rid of this ad. Reads into the note and bursts into tears. Waitress sees Austin Riley's check, reads the note, bursts into tears. In a quiet corner of an ordinary restaurant in Atlanta, a moment unfolded that would forever change the life of a young waitress named Lily. At just 24 years old, Lily worked tirelessly to support her dreams and family, never imagining that a simple act of kindness from a famous baseball star would touch her heart so deeply and leave her in tears. Lily didn't realize at first who she was serving that day. Austin Riley, the talented and humble third baseman for the Atlanta Braves, had just come in like any other customer. Polite, unassuming, and modest, Austin didn't draw any attention to himself. He smiled warmly at the staff, chatted briefly with Lily when she brought his order, and enjoyed his meal quietly, savoring the time away from the roar of the stadium crowds and flashing cameras. For Lily, it was just another day at work. She greeted him with her usually friendly attitude, brought his food and drinks, and checked in to make sure everything was perfect. Austin thanked her politely each time, never making a fuss or acting like a celebrity. She thought, wow, he's just really a normal guy. But what happened next changed everything. When Austin finished his meal, he left a folded check on the table and quietly exited the restaurant, wearing a smile that was both genuine and kind. Lily, curious and a little intrigued, unfolded the check, and what she read made her heart skip a beat. It wasn't just a generous tip that caught her attention. It was substantial enough to make her gasp. What truly overwhelmed her was the handwritten note from Austin Riley, written with sincerity and warmth. The note thanked her not only for her service that day, but for her hard work, dedication, and the kindness she showed everyone she encountered. He wrote about how he knew life wasn't always easy, especially for someone working hard to build a better future. He encouraged her to keep pursuing her dreams, reminding her that her effort and spirit were noticed and admired not just by him, but many who face challenges daily. The note ended with a simple but powerful message. Keep believing in yourself, Lily. Your kindness and strength will carry you far. The world needs more people like you. Overwhelmed with emotion, Lily's eyes filled with tears. She couldn't believe that someone she had admired so much, someone she had saw only on TV and in stadiums, had taken the time to recognize her as a person, not just a waitress doing her job. In that moment, the struggles she had quietly borne, the long hours, the financial worries, the self-doubt seemed a little bit lighter. Tears streamed down her face as she held the note close. It wasn't just encouragement, it was validation. It was a reminder that kindness could come from the most unexpected places, and even that small acts could have an immeasurable impact. For days afterwards, Lily kept the note in a special place. It became a source of strength whenever she felt exhausted or discouraged. She shared the story with her friends and family, not to boast, but to inspire them to believe in themselves just as Austin had inspired her. Austin Riley's gesture sparked conversations across social media and the community. Fans praised him for not only his skills on the baseball field, but his humility and generous spirit off the field. Many shared similar stories of athletes and celebrities who used their platform to uplift everyday heroes, teachers, nurses, waitstaff, and others who quietly make the world better. In a world that seems dominated by the headlines of controversy and negativity, this heartfelt moment reminded everyone that genuine kindness still exists. It showed how a simple note, a few sincere words, and a generous tip could uplift a person in ways money alone never could. For Lily, that day became a turning point. She renewed her commitment to her dreams, whether that meant continuing her education, saving for a new opportunity, or simply being kinder to herself. She realized she mattered, that her work mattered, and that the world had noticed her in a way she never expected. Austin Riley's message transcended the boundaries between celebrity and everyday life. It showed that behind every famous face is a person who can choose to make a difference, to spread hope and kindness, to touch a life profoundly with just a few words. Lily's story is a powerful reminder sometimes the smallest act of kindness create the biggest waves. And when we see others with compassion, we help build a world where everyone feels seen, valued, and encouraged to keep moving forward. So the next time you serve a meal, greet a stranger, or face your own challenges, remember Lily's tears and Austin Riley's note, because kindness matters, and sometimes it's the quiet moments that change everything.
Beautiful story.
Yeah. What did Michael say earlier? ABP, always be positive.
Always be positive.
ABK,
always be kind.
Always be kind.
Yeah, I was trying to think
always
of a
be
way
killer.
to drop a little storm cloud on that story, but I can't do it. So
wait, so you have something that could be?
No,
oh, okay.
No, it's not that I'm unwilling to do it. I just can't think of anything.
Well, wow. We stopped the troll. Well, not troll. That's not fair because you don't troll no one.
I've been called Eeyore before.
Eeyore.
Womp womp. Yeah, I just thought that was a nice, and I wanted to follow that up, with the other ones that we just talked about. So that one, obviously, and it's kind of
less poopy.
Yeah, yeah, with a different word though. But yes,
there you go.
But yes, yeah. I mean, and it's something we talk about here all the time. Just be kind.
Yep.
You never know what people are going through, and a simple smile and how are you can go a super long way.
ABP JBK. Always be positive, just be kind.
There you go. I gotta get the shirt going.
Yeah, but don't quote me on that first.
Yes.
Because now anytime that I hear someone say, I hear people say it all the time now, and I'm just like,
and you didn't realize how many people say it. Yep.
Yeah, your face just pops up in my head. It's like me saying 100% or something.
Yeah, I'm gonna get a shirt with GOML.
Get off my lawn, baby. Yes, dude, that would be so dope. He's like, there's a cloud in the background, and it's Brian shaking his hand, and he looks older than what he does right now. Because Brian don't look old at all. Ladies and gentlemen.
Screaming at the cloud.
Yeah, but then it says, and it's got like a little cartoon like quote.
Yes, a quote
cloud.
Bubble.
Yeah, quote bubble, and it says, "Get off my lawn" in all capital letters.
Exactly.
Yep.
And it looks just like a newspaper comic from back in the day.
No, I've got a great picture in my head.
Crazy.
Good stuff. Was that a rumble outside?
Of course, see?
Yeah, get off my lawn.
I'm screaming at the clouds. Here comes one.
It is it's getting a little dark out there.
I did see this. I don't know if you saw this one or not. A YouTuber who specializes in domino feats broke a Guinness World Record when she and her team assembled the world's tallest domino structure, measuring, get this, 33 feet, 2.74 inches tall. Took them about 5 days to build it. And again, 33 feet, 2.74 inches tall, breaking the previous record of 32 feet, 10.8 inches. The team celebrated by then throwing a stuffed squirrel toy at the top of the tower and watching it collapse.
Oh my god!
33 feet of a domino tower.
That's insane.
I guess you got to.
Domino's like that's what a 3.5 story building.
Oh, they're laying flat.
Or are they vertical? Are they laid down?
I did.
There's no way
you
that they
couldn't
could
balance that. And you'd almost need a cherry.
Well, I mean, you could have a wide base.
True, and
take
go
it
like
up,
a pyramid.
Yeah,
but
You know, there's a golf course right next to the pyramids out there in Egypt.
Really?
Yeah.
Is it
like on the
sand or
others.
grass?
No, it's grass. It's grass. Little fun fact nobody knows about.
Would you ever play the one the aliens built?
Yes. No, that's out in Arizona.
Would you ever play a golf course that was all sand?
I mean, that's how golf courses used to be back in the day.
Yeah.
There's sand greens and all that stuff.
Wow.
Not anymore.
Some of the Muni tracks I grew up on were.
I'm not going there.
Yes. We do have to take a quick break. We got to get Brad Law on the line. He's the director of the broadcast operations for the Auburn Tigers. You're listening to The Inside Drive. We'll be right back with Brad Law.
ESPN Northwest Florida.
The Atlanta Braves play here.
Can the Atlanta Braves make another second half run? Can history be duplicated?
Is this happening? It is! The Atlanta Braves are world champions!
This is why we play the game.
Grissom on the run! Yes!
ESPN Northwest Florida.
Good afternoon. This is Joanna on ESPN Northwest Florida with your forecast on this Monday. Likely thunderstorms and light rain the remainder of the day with a gentle breeze around 11 miles per hour out of the west-southwest, and look for it to be 83. Tonight, there will be very light showers and likely thunderstorms with a temperature reaching 76. Definite thunderstorms and sprinkles tomorrow with a high of 81. This weather is brought to you by Ellis Agency Insurance. Thank you for listening to ESPN Northwest Florida. Rely on it.
Tired of flipping through channels and finding nothing good? Introducing Scorpion TV. Over 5,000 live streaming channels. Catch every game of the season with over 100 sports networks, including ESPN, ESPN Plus, the NFL Network, and Red Zone. Even pay-per-view events. Watch 400 local network channels from Panama City and most markets throughout the country. Fox, ABC, CBS, and NBC. It's more than sports. Scorpion TV offers premium movie channels like HBO, Cinemax, Stars, 200 plus entertainment and news networks, or watch thousands of movies on demand, all for just $45 a month when you use the ESPN NW promo code at checkout. Watch on up to 5 devices at the same time. Perfect for sharing with family and friends. Scorpion TV gives you everything you want for less. Cut the cord, not the fun. To score Scorpion TV, go to ESPNPC.com and click on the Scorpion TV logo. Don't forget our promo code ESPNNW.
Now back to the Inside Drive, live and local from the Gulf Plus studios. This is where heroes are created, legends are born, and dynasties forged. The Sports Talk Monster, ESPN Northwest Florida. Now back to Ryan Mulvey and the Inside Drive.
Portions of this program may have been previously recorded.
And welcome back. You're listening to The Inside Drive live here on ESPN Northwest Florida. 104.3 here in Panama City Beach. And, of course, all of our beautiful surrounding areas. We're getting Aaron Bearden on the line as we speak. Don't forget, coming up tonight after the Afternoon Underdogs, you got Braves coverage starting at 6 p.m. First pitch, 6:15 start tonight against those Philadelphia Phillies in a huge 3-game series. We got him on the line. It's been a while since we talked. Aaron, how are you doing, my friend?
Fantastic. How are you guys?
We're doing good. We're J-less on this Friday, so it's always a little more sad when that's the case. But we'll get him back on the 11th. We'll have a little break for the 4th of July next Friday. Hard to believe when you hit 4th of July, it almost feels like you're halfway through the summer already, and school will be happening right around the week. Obviously, it's been a long time since I've had a chance to talk to you. What are some of the big new things that have come into the shop over the last 2 or 3 weeks?
Yeah, Top Series 2 has come out. That's a really big one. In fact, the Mega Boxes just came out, I believe, this past week.
Nice.
Wild Card put out Prehistoric Football, which is really cool. For those of you who haven't seen it, it's football players on cards with dinosaurs, with these really cool, colorful, sort of psychedelic-looking dinosaur cards. They've been a big hit because they've got Patrick Mahomes autos in the product,
Nice.
in addition to a lot of other great signers. Topps Chrome Basketball has just come back out. It's the first time we've seen some Chrome basketball. We had a long break there of, I don't know, close to 10 years with no Topps Chrome Basketball.
Dang.
And some Topps Finest Soccer just hit the market this week, too, as well as some UFC product. I just noticed. I just got in the shop a little bit ago today. So they're kind of showing me some of the new stuff that was out. So, yeah, some new UFC product as well. So kind of no matter what sport you're into, there's something new for it.
Yeah, sounds like it.
And come check out.
Topps Chrome, that pretty much covers most of the major professional sports now at this point, with basketball being back.
Yeah, and Topps going forward, Chrome is sort of going to be like the gold standard. You know, it's not going to be the top-end, most expensive product, but it's going to be kind of the thing. If you want a good, solid investment, a good rookie to hang on to or something, Topps Chrome is going to be out there, whether it's, you know, the baseball, football, basketball, UFC, whatever, or even into Topps' other offerings like Star Wars and Disney and things like that. Topps Chrome is going to be there as kind of the anchor.
Yeah, kind of
for
like
a lot of those
their
releases.
flagship product, so to speak, something along those lines.
Yeah, it'll be a step above just your base Topps Series 1 and 2.
Yeah.
And like I said, even those non-sports things, they're going to come out with something similar to a rookie card like you'd have in sports. It would basically be, say, a new character in Star Wars or a Disney movie or something. They'll have a, more or less, a rookie card that will come out in Topps Chrome.
Nice. Very
So,
cool.
yeah, it's definitely something to have in the collection.
In addition to all these new releases, the big events that y'all do, the Topps Rip Night, has that all transpired this month in June already?
Yes, for June it has. Rip Night will be back on July 19th. That's a Saturday night at 5 p.m.
Awesome. And remind everybody
It'll
about
be
those
a-
Rip
it'll
Nights,
be a
because
big
that's
one.
such a great time for everybody, people of all ages, to come out to the Rip Night.
Yeah, it's always a lot of fun, and just there's so much stuff that gets opened on Rip Night. In between the pack wars, the box breaks, a lot of deals and discounts that we do. There's so much gets open. There's always great cards popping out on Rip Night.
Remind me
Always
again,
cool
too,
autos.
what pack wars are. I always kind of forget, and then I have to be reminded to get it stuck in my brain.
Yeah, so we do a game called Pack Wars. It's sort of a modified version of the Pack Wars that have been around a long time. But basically, everybody buys in and they get the same packs. We select one of those packs and call it out. And we've got a little randomizer wheel for something we're looking for within that pack. So everybody opens their pack up, and we're all looking for, say, the tallest player, or who's got the most cards of people in blue jerseys, or something like that, or lowest card number. And whoever wins, we've got a prize for that, which could be additional cards, could be some swag, some memorabilia, stored gift cards, something like that. So, yeah, there's always something to give out for that, and everybody keeps their cards. There's versions of Pack Wars where it's sort of like,
you lose the cards.
Winner take all kind of thing. But no, you're paying for the cards, you keep them all. We're just trying to see who's got the thing to get the prize.
Well, that is a fun way to open some packs and have some fun, no doubt about that. I'll try to remember that going forward.
And you don't have to know anything at all about cards. Last month, a lady came with her son, and she won a couple of rounds of Pack Wars and got some really cool prizes. And the son's really the card collector, but all she had to know was, look at the back of the card and see what the card number is. We're looking for the highest number. She's like, well, I got card 399 or whatever. It's like, well, it's a 400 card set. Nobody had card 400, so she won.
Yep, awesome.
So, and then we always switch the prizes up. Sometimes it's based on stuff that, say Topps or somebody will send us for the event, and sometimes it's just stuff we throw in. So we had some little mystery packs last time people could select from, and I think she ended up getting a pretty cool Michael Jordan insert card from the 90s. It was like about a $25 or $30 card.
Nice.
For one of the rounds she won.
Highest number card. Yeah. Cool stuff. Aaron, I'm assuming, I don't know this for a fact, that you went to the Fanatics card show up in New York.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
we
with
were
that
invited as guests of Fanatics.
Awesome.
To go to it, yep.
Tell our listeners a little bit about what you kind of come across and what's so fun about these big car shows.
Yeah, well, the thing about the Fanatics Fest in New York last weekend is it's not really just a card show per se. It's really just about sports fandom.
Yeah.
So there was a section for cards, but there were also, equally big or bigger sections for people that make, sports merchandise and apparel and just different brands that were there showing off things. So there were, companies like New Era, for example, was there, and they had caps for everything you could imagine, but you could also get custom-made caps there at the show while you waited. And, companies that make the wrestling championship belts, that they do the different branded teams on it, so you could get a New York Giants wrestling belt or a Dodger wrestling belt or whatever. They were there. So there's a lot of that kind of stuff in addition to the cards. A lot of people were there doing their podcasts with athletes and a lot of celebrities running around. So, yeah, it was just sort of a celebration of just sports fandom, more so than just cards.
If I recall correctly, I think I saw some stuff on social media of Livy Dunn buying like a very rare Paul Skeens card, and there was a lot of media and attention around her. Just thought it was kind of funny, her, fiance, and buying one of his, I think it was a 1 of 2 or something like that, one of his rookie cards. So
I did not see her. I saw, we saw like Wade Boggs, Tom Brady. I was about 10 or 15 feet away from Brady. C.J. Stroud, Flavor Flav.
Flavor Flav's always at different stuff.
Yeah, and he was actually, while we were in New York, the next night, he was about 5 blocks from our hotel judging the Air Guitar Championship.
Of course he was.
So, yeah, if there's a good time to be had, Flavor Flav's probably the guy to call.
No doubt.
So, but yeah, that's really what it was. There were a lot of neat things on display. There were a lot of athletes, uniforms and, personal items like that on display. Some of the biggest cards, the Paul Skeens debut patch card that caused such a fuss last year.
Yeah,
that was on display.
Nice.
And the most expensive Pokemon card ever sold, that was on display. So a lot of things like that were out there, and a lot of the athletes were there signing autographs if you wanted to buy a ticket and wait in line for that as well. So, and then while we were there, we went to a couple of Yankees games and got to do a really, really cool special event at Yankee Stadium where we got to go kind of behind the scenes before one of the games and hit Monument Park and all that, but also got to hold and photograph some Yankees artifacts. So we got some footage of like me holding up one of Babe Ruth's uniforms and a bat. Mickey Mantle's contract, one of Aaron Judge's bats, I think one of Jeter's jerseys. A lot of that cool stuff they brought out. We had to put on white gloves. And, but they let us do all that for our TV show, so that'll be coming up on the Card Shop show here pretty soon.
Sweet. So you had a little film crew go up there with you?
Yeah, just real small, but yeah. Yeah, and just like I said, made a weekend of it, hit a Broadway show, and just did a lot of fun things while we were there. Like I say, went to 2 games, Yankees and Orioles. Got to see Aaron Judge hit a home run on Aaron Judge Superman bobblehead night.
Of course.
So,
you kind of have to on your Superman bobble night if it's your own person.
Yeah, if they're going to give away a figure with your face on it dressed up as the Man of Steel, you got to show up for that game.
Absolutely. I know the Yankees Go ahead.
So what's that?
Good. I was just going to say something random I saw today about the Yankees that you might get a kick out of.
Yeah, Judge was great that game. He was like 2 for 3 or 3 for 3 with a homer and a couple of walks. They lost that one. Then the next day was the one hitter against Baltimore, which may be the hottest baseball game I've ever been to. It was insane. I saw people passing out from the heat. It was crazy.
You got to be careful at baseball stadiums with that. That is for sure. I did see what I was going to mention is I saw that I think coming up later in July, they're doing a George Costanza Bobble night, which
yes.
I'm a big Seinfeld fan.
I did see that.
And it's like him in his desk, under his desk, like that episode where he was sleeping, and then they heard the clock, so they brought in the bomb squad and all that stuff. So nice to see that they still got ties to the Seinfeld show, which was certainly one that I wish they were still in this day and age. But in this day and age, you can't really do that kind of stuff anymore, unfortunately. But
yeah, they had the Yankees World Series trophies out on display for us. We weren't allowed to pick them up, but we did get to photograph them. They were telling us some stuff about them, and one of them, I guess, was the one they used in the Seinfeld episode.
Nice.
So
nice.
They definitely, they haven't forgotten what George Costanza did as a member of the Yankees front office.
Yeah, scouting extraordinaire. He made the cotton uniforms come back, I think, or there was polyester in the game. Anyway, a couple more questions for you, Aaron. If you were to add one fictional athlete to a card set, who would it be?
Man, that's a great question. We talk about like Babe Ruth because he could pitch and hit, and Ohtani could certainly pitch and hit. What about the guy that played all 9 positions at one time? Talking about Mr. Bugs Bunny.
Ah, yes. He was a pretty good athlete.
How about that? And I thought, no, Jay's not here, man, but what about one of Jay's favorites, Bobby Boucher?
Yeah.
One of the legendary tacklers of all time.
Like to see him out there in a SEC uniform. That'd be pretty fun. That's a great one.
Get his NIL thing, be on a Topps Chrome card. One I have to go with because I've met him a couple of times. Really great guy. And somebody, just an athlete they don't traditionally put on cards, man. What about Daniel LaRusso, the Karate Kid?
The Karate Kid, yeah. Get us a little
great guy.
Topps Chrome Karate Edition. That'd be fantastic. David, you got any athletes that come to mind about a fictional athlete being put into a real card set kind of thing? The one that came to my mind, Happy Gilmore getting on some PGA Tour cards, and they may already have that or not, but obviously, especially with the new movie coming out here next month. So
Bugs Bunny and Space Jam.
Yeah, that's a good. He had Bugs Bunny in baseball, but Bugs Bunny in Space Jam 2 is one that I kind of thought of pretty quickly as well.
Yeah, I mean, any Adam Sandler character for sure would be great. Yeah.
Yeah, I really like Bobby Boucher. That's probably my favorite answer to that question.
Dual auto Tweety Bird, Larry Bird.
There you go. There you go.
Make it happen.
That would be fun, no doubt about it. Aaron, I'm going to kind of do a little different thing here called Sleeve It or Leave It. Kind of some rapid fire questions and just kind of some different things that we came up with here. First one is junk wax. Nostalgic or trash?
Nostalgic if it's the right product. There's some, that whole junk era, not everything was junk.
Yeah.
There's some things like 88 Topps baseball. There's nothing in it. It's never going to be worth a bunch of money. But there's some real winners. 87 baseball, man, loaded rookie class, man. Maddox, Bonds, McGuire, Barry Larkin, all these players in 87. You can still have some fun with some of that stuff. 89 Upper Deck, get you a Griffey rookie.
Ooh.
There
you go.
So, yeah. Yeah, it is nostalgic if it's the right product.
Gotcha. It's a little asterisk there with the nostalgic side of things.
Yeah.
Signed card or game-worn patch?
For value, signed card.
Yeah.
Definitely. But there are some amazing patches out there. But, all things being equal, I'm going to say signed card.
Gotcha. Yeah, obviously, definitely some more value because it's the signature of the player. But there's some pretty, as you mentioned, like the NFL logo on some of these patches that make it into cards. You say when you find that's certainly worth a good bit more as well. Yeah,
and Panini does some of the collegiate ones where they have some of those various bowl games. And I think like maybe Immaculate or something like that, they put some of those bowl patches into, and those are very colorful, great patches. Cool so, cards. Yeah, there's some of those. If you really like a player, you like a team or something, you got to have that in your collection. But in general, I think we're going to say signed cards.
Yeah, absolutely. Speaking of signed cards, better signature, Shaq or Patrick Mahomes?
For value, Mahomes all day long.
Yeah.
Shaq's signature is not a big money, and part of that is because Shaq is a generous signer. He signs a lot of autographs for his fans. And neither one of them, to me, look great as signatures go, but they are both heavily stylized to the point that authenticating them is a little easier than, if they just scribbled a line or an initial on there.
Gotcha.
So, yeah, neither one of them's a really awesome-looking signature. But, yeah, Mahomes certainly for the value.
Yeah, no doubt on that one. All right, next we've got most underrated player in the card market today.
That's
a tough one.
If I'm gonna start with baseball.
Okay.
I think Bobby Witt. I think you can't go wrong there. The guy is just such a great all-around player. I don't think we've seen his power develop like it may down the road, but he's contact hitter, defensive player, and kind of he's in a division people don't watch that much. So I think there's good potential to still pick up Bobby Witt. And this is going to sound crazy, man. Shohei Ohtani. I know his cards, everybody knows about Ohtani. His cards are already kind of up there, but what are they going to be, 10 more seasons of him doing this?
Yep, absolutely. When he finishes his MLB career and retires, what is it going to be like then? It's a great
you may
point.
wish you could go back and buy him for the, $100 or $200 right now. But I'm going to go with another guy people are probably not thinking of, particularly in this area, because baseball and football, even basketball, they're kind of big here. But beyond that, Lamine Yamal. If you anybody out there, we've seen what this guy is doing, and I don't follow soccer.
I was going to say that's soccer, right? Because I've heard my son talk about him a lot. But
he was a 17-year-old who scored in the World Cup.
For Portugal. Yeah, and he's
Spain, I believe.
Yes.
Spain.
Yes.
Spain.
All
they're
kind of
connected.
marks already for stuff he has done, for being the youngest to reach this or that plateau, and youngest ever to score in this kind of competition and all that. Being compared to Pele and all those guys by the time he was 16 years old. There's another guy that, man, if that continues, you've got some premium soccer cards right now. Topps has got a soccer license, and they've been putting out Chrome cards and stuff like that of this guy. They may be a great value compared to, again, what this guy's career going to look like in 10 years.
No doubt. That's a great one. That's my favorite. I like the Ohtani answer, too, just because, he is unbelievable, but what does 10, 15 years look like down the road? But the soccer kid that's fantastic. So, great one.
Lamine Yamal, in 10 years, he's going to be 27 years old. I mean, that's sort of like prime era for athletes, he'll have a Hall of Fame career.
He'll actually be an adult at that point, and his body would have fully developed. So, I mean, it's like, Ronaldo getting paid $4.7 million a week now with his new base salary with Al Assir. Next one, who is more collectible, MJ, Kobe, or LeBron?
I'm going to go MJ on that. With the caveat, I know there's some expensive Kobe and LeBron cards out there. I know there's, like LeBron 101, this or that sold for $1 million or whatever. But when Jordan was out, particularly, say, that first year or two, people were not really looking at basketball cards the way they do now. So there are fewer cards, and a lot of them just weren't taken care of. Plus, he's Jordan. Yeah. LeBron can break every record Jordan has ever set, and you can argue that on court, he may surpass Jordan. What Jordan did for the sport of basketball, nobody else can really do. He brought it up to the level of the MLB and the NFL as far as something Americans view and follow and all that. That was Jordan.
Yeah, that's a great
by
point.
the time LeBron came along, it was already there.
Yeah.
So
MJ kind of transcended the NBA and the game of basketball.
Sure. So I would go Jordan. Although nothing wrong with having good LeBron pieces or good Kobe pieces. Thing is, Kobe rookies, 90s basketball, it's kind of overproduced. You got to spend a little more and get some of those kind of harder to find Kobe rookies, and to some extent with LeBron too.
Gotcha. Couple more real quick before we let you go. And this might be a question I feel like I've asked in the past. Worst autograph you've ever seen? Initials don't count.
I'm going to tell you why that's a tough one, because usually the guys with the really, really bad signatures, for whatever reason, they don't necessarily stick around. We see it a lot with football rookies. Some of those guys are terrible, and then they're out of the league, or they're just not the guys who are getting to sign. Worst, household name auto, pulling a sticker auto for Mike Tyson. Iron Mike knows how to punch. He has not gotten where the sticker ends. And so his signature is like 3 times bigger than the sticker, and it just sort of looks like a seismograph going haywire.
Gotcha. Kind of coming off that sticker a little bit.
Yeah, you rarely get the full signature, but I understand. I don't know anybody who's going to tell Iron Mike he's got bad penmanship.
Yeah, no doubt, unless you want a knuckle sandwich, as they used to say.
Yeah, so if you're trying to send him in to get graded, that's going to be a tough one to get a high grade on his signature.
Gotcha. What's a card you're tired of seeing?
Overhyped insert cards, non-numbered inserts. And I mean things like downtowns out of Donruss or Optic, or Kaboom cards. These that have an appeal to a certain type of collector, usually newer, younger collectors, because they're hearing breakers really hype these cards up. They do have some value, but they're very, very plentiful compared to what they were 6 or 7 years ago when they used to be scarce and used to sell for tons of money. We're seeing them sell for like 20% of what they used to sell for. And again, they're non-numbered inserts. They can make as many as they want. And, you know, you have no idea. If you buy one the week the product comes out and you go, hey, I got, Jane Daniels downtown and, I paid X amount for it. Fine, but they're going to keep printing them in those retail boxes. They could print 4 times as many by the time the year's over. And suddenly that card's worth, like I said, 10 or 20% of what you paid for it.
Yeah, so great point there.
Anybody who thinks those are big, man, ask somebody who was in this in the 90s about non-numbered insert cards, because there were tons of them, everybody was looking for back in 1996, 97, that you can't get rid of now unless you find another old-time collector that was trying to put a set together.
Yeah. So the downtowns, the Kabooms in this day and age, you're tired of seeing those.
The online breakers are trying to push.
Yeah.
The reason they're trying to push them to you is because that's what they have to sell.
Yep. Absolutely. Last but not least, before we let you go, biggest myth about sports cards you would want to bust right now?
Oh, man, so many. Number one, unlicensed as a term in cards. We hear this all the time. This is something people push online. Panini Baseball, they're unlicensed. Or Topps Football, it's unlicensed. That's not how that works. If they were unlicensed, they'd be illegal. They'd get sued for making them. Mm-hmm. Having a Players Association license is different from having a league license to put, New York or St. Louis on a jersey. And truthfully, having a player license is better because you can put the player's picture on there.
Yeah.
For decades, that's how cards were made. All those great, expensive vintage cards, most of them were quote-unquote unlicensed. Truth is, long-term collectors don't care. Yeah. They're looking at the card, the scarcity, who the player is, that sort of thing. That's a thing newer collectors have gotten fed by the internet without really checking. The other, PSA. I could rail on PSA all day. People just assume they're the best because they're the biggest. Well, the best restaurant in America probably isn't the fast food chain with the most locations, even though they're the biggest. Doesn't mean they're the best food. PSA, they make a ton of mistakes. They do a lot of things that they should do better with regard to their pricing structure and just a lot of things in general they miss on cards. Truthfully, all grading companies, they make mistakes. They're human.
Yeah.
It's a little silly, this idea that, one is infallible. Regardless of whatever your favorite grading company is, they can all make mistakes. Buy the card. Don't buy the label.
Absolutely.
There are plenty of cards out there. They graded. Card looked great. It was a 10. They give it a 10, and the guy goes to put it in the case, and he drops it, and he dings the corner up. Rather than him call his boss and get in trouble for messing up your card, he's probably going to put it in the case anyway and seal it, send it back to you. There are people out there that'll buy it because it says it's a 10 on the label. But do you really want to pay a 10 price for a card with a, badly dinged corner?
Clearly
I don't.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Yeah. So, buy the card. Don't buy necessarily the label. But, just the idea that there's one supreme grading company just because you've heard about them the most.
Yeah.
Do the research,
Well, Aaron, I appreciate your time. We ran a little long, but it's been a long time since we talked, so I appreciate you coming on. And next Friday, we got the 4th of July, so next time we'll be back on a Friday will be July 11th, getting ever so closer to that Topps Rip Night. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah, and MLB All-Star Game somewhere around that time, too.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
Talk about
Acuna in the Home Run Derby. Aaron, we appreciate it, and have a great weekend, and we'll talk to you soon.
Absolutely. You guys do the same. Take care. Everybody come see us.
Absolutely. Quick break. You guys are listening to the Inside Drive final segment. We're going to talk some of the divisional odds. We're not picking. We're just going to talk about some of the divisional odds right now for NFL futures. You're listening to the Inside Drive. We'll be right back.
It's here. The 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida app version 2.0. Now featuring ultra high fidelity. You'll feel like you're in the game. Plus more opportunities to win weekly prizes from local businesses when you click it to win it. Download the 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida app today at Google Play or the Apple Store.
Hewitt Tire and Auto. Call 850-769-7323. Your certified AAA service center and hometown towing. Visit them online at HewittTire.com. On Airport Road in Panama City. 850-769-7323. Hewitt Tire and Auto Center and hometown towing.
Need a tow? Call Billy at Hometown Towing, 850-265-1562.
Get ready to discover new adventures this summer and hit the road in a new 2025 Kia Telluride from Bill Bird Kia. Whether you're traveling on the highways or off-road, you'll do it with grace and grit. Now offering 3.9% APR for up to 48 months on the purchase of a new 2025 Kia Telluride. During the Kia Summer Sticker Sales Event, experience what everyone's talking about. Stop by for a test drive today and discover the perfect fit, featuring spacious 8-passenger seating, premium interior, and advanced safety and technology features. Bill Bird Kia, the home of that 20-year, 200,000-mile warranty. Stop by and see us at 2435 East 15th Street or anytime at BillBirdKiaPanamaCity.com. The road is yours this summer and a new Kia from Bill Bird Kia.
Offer from Kia Finance America for the purchase of a new 2025 Kia Telluride with $2,253 per $1,000 financed at 48 months. Quality limit cannot be combined with other finance offers. The 20-year, 200,000-mile warranty is a Bill Bird Kia warranty. See dealer for complete details. Offer for well-qualified buyers. Must take delivery from dealer stock through 7/7/25.
Broadcasting from the Gulf Plus Studios, it's the Inside Drive. He has over 10 items in the express lane. He pays with checks and he doesn't return his shopping carts.
You have ruined groceries for me.
Now back to Ryan Mulvey and the Inside Drive. ESPN Northwest Florida. Not sorry.
Portions of this program may have been previously recorded.
And we are back. Final segment of this Thursday afternoon. We got the Afternoon Underdogs coming up at 4, followed by your Atlanta Braves finishing off the series against the Mets. Can they get the win and leave the Mets only to one victory over them so far this season, or will the Mets scrape another victory out like they did last night before they jump back home to take on the Philadelphia Phillies for a 3-game series? Coverage starts tonight against the Mets, 6 p.m. right after the Afternoon Underdogs, followed by the first pitch at 6:10. We do that again tomorrow, 6 p.m. coverage, first pitch at 6:15. Apparently on Friday you need 5 more minutes before that first pitch against the Philadelphia Phillies. Saturday, first pitch at 6:15. Coverage starts right here on ESPN Northwest Florida at 5. And then, of course, your matinee game on Sunday, 11:20 coverage. 12:35 first pitch. Atlanta Braves baseball right here on ESPN Northwest Florida is sponsored locally by Bestway Portable Buildings, Reliable Hydraulic Solutions, Mid-South Lumber, and of course Brock Pest Control. We appreciate all of our sponsors to allow us to bring you guys the Atlanta Braves right here on the Gulf Coast. Brian, David, let's finish it up. We got
Brian. Okay.
Yeah, we'll finish up the
I thought I was in trouble for a second. I didn't know what
you didn't hear no middle name come out.
Yeah. That is a great point on that. Certainly does matter. All right, 2010. We're revisiting the Madden curse and seeing if there's more curses than not curses. This was an interesting year, and they had both the Arizona Cardinals wide receiver Larry Fitzgerald and Steelers safety Troy Polamalu. David, was that separated on consoles?
No. That was both of them were on the cover.
Or they
right?
were both on the same cover.
Yeah.
Okay. Because I know at some point they started separating like the console covers.
What year was it?
2010.
Well, yeah, it can become collectible and you can sell twice as many.
There you go. Fitz had one of his standard Pro Bowl seasons.
Yeah, it was both of them on there.
Okay. With his Pro Bowl seasons of another 1,000-yard season, but Polamalu missed a career-high 11 games in 2009 thanks to an MCL injury, recording a career-low 20 tackles. So you got to remember too, like this is 2010. The game comes out the same year. Like this year's is Madden 2026, right?
Yeah.
So like we're taught their 2000.
So it comes out same year as the Super Bowl.
Yeah. So the 2009 season was their quote unquote cover season.
This one's tough.
I'd almost say it's like,
wasn't it like doesn't the article break it down as a curse for one player and not so curse for another player?
Yeah, basically half cursed.
Yeah, I mean that obviously works here because I think the injury bug is the biggest,
curse.
Yeah, the curse to it. So Polamalu certainly, Larry, it's hard to curse Larry.
So then Vince Young wasn't cursed then. Because if the curse is injury, then Vince Young's wasn't an injury.
I blame.
No, I know.
It's everything on Jeff Fisher.
I know. I'm just.
Jeff Fisher is cursed. He's a
Jeff
cursor.
Fisher's cursed.
Yeah.
He's a cursor. He says bad words in the locker room.
Yep. Absolutely.
A bum is what he is.
Absolutely. Brian, can you talk for like 2 minutes?
Yeah, sure. No worries.
Fairy tale or reality.
Yeah, exactly.
If it was Jay, I would.
No, but
you would be like David.
But what is weird, David, is the fact that, when we talk about these curses, obviously you can have bad years. And what we talked about earlier is you're usually coming off a career year or one of the best years of your career, obviously, in doing it. So there's obviously, just by odds, a natural fallback. But how many guys have had, like we said, the freak injury or just the total collapse around them when it comes to this has probably been what started all this curse talk in the first place.
Oh, I agree. It does. I agree that it comes down to the injuries. And then you go to last year with 2025 with Christian McCaffrey, and that's what it boiled down to, right? I mean, he had one of the craziest injuries of all of these when we talk about the bilateral Achilles. What was it? It wasn't a tear or a rupture or anything. I believe it was just tendonitis in his Achilles.
Yeah, I can't remember. I mean, obviously, I'm not a doctor. But I play one on TV.
But, I mean, that was so wild because of how much we saw how much it impacted San Francisco. But also the world of fantasy football. How many people drafted Christian McCaffrey and going into week one thinking he was going to play and then he didn't. So that curse right there was beyond just on the field.
It almost seems, too, in a lot of cases where that's going to be the next curse is who's the seen as the top dog for fantasy.
Yeah.
That everybody goes for because, but again, some of the, quote, curse comes from unrealistic expectations. Right? So if they don't live up to this, incredible mega model of what it, is thought they're going to do, then it's seen as a, depressing year. It's like, no.
Well, I think you kind of mentioned the
Only 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida could bring sports fans like you an app this powerful. The sports content you crave is always on. Live stream us everywhere you go. Now with upgraded programming and live game schedules, you'll always know when the Atlanta Braves and your favorite games are playing. Plus,